Right. For now, in fact, this might not even work. Because I dropped my phone and just 2 feet it dropped. But a stone has cracked one of the lens covers. Very unfortunate. I've made, or rather I put up 5 minutes of film I made 3 days ago. Film is important because of the nuance and the tone of voice, the whole damn thing. I'm never angry about anything, but last week I spent 5 hours with somebody. Listen to start the week on Radio 4 this morning about just how interesting story and myth is. Myth, in other words, the stories get told and then warped. It was really good, actually. But yeah, I spent 5 hours with somebody who is a woman who I was so impressed with. One wouldn't expect this, but from brown people's lands, even has a toy boy lover here. But I was impressed with her because she chimed on the reality of white people going to the Far East or Indian subcontinent, ashram, lovely, lovely people. If she's going to write a book, which I've spent 5 hours talking with her about, but it'll be another waste of time. It doesn't matter, because I then went into a mode of trying to find a bit of support for her. Encouragement. Do it now. The most important thing of all to say is this. There are 2 things. First of all, so she told the story, the real story of her people, that the opening line of her book is, "Twice they tried to kill me before I was even born by abortion pills." You know, this is somebody who's like, her existence, she shouldn't almost exist, but 1989, I think it was, in Poland, you had the most fantastic example of, probably for 100 years, the local people overthrew the communist regime, which they despised and had gone wonky. This thing called woke, the most awful word, is just ignorance. There are many examples. For example, I think Syria is a very good example, whereby the West could not interfere and depose the truly, we knew 30 years ago that Assad's father was a brutal, lunatic, evil bastard. The problem with the way it's gone in America is blue states have become free places for immigration. The fundamental problem in there is only people of the land. It wouldn't have worked if the West had encouraged the Solidarity Union movement in Poland to rise up against the communist system. Unfortunately, the way of the world, the way of peoples, the way of cultures, the way of countries is that there can only be really meaningful, healthy change, as happened in Poland, if rather than mass flee a crazed nutcase, the more active people, or rather the more healthy and able people, who are those who, to some extent, may flee a loony regime, as is the truth. The truth of immigration, and I am so pro-immigration, it's daft. I have, my daughter only exists. My one beloved child only exists because of immigration. Me immigrating her mother to where I lived, and a year and a half later, pops out daughter. But to encourage people to flee the craziness only the people of that place can eventually overthrow the nutcases, the horrible people. That is the great dichotomy, and probably most of my adult life I've struggled with that within. And we have nowadays this kind of almost, in Ukraine, this default. We've got to provide sanctuary. Well, at least sanctuary nearby where the baddies are doing their bad stuff, because only the local base, only the local people in time, as happened against the Nazis with various resistances. It's horrible, but that's the brutal truth. Britain, if we went a bit wonky, there's no way on earth we would take any notice of anybody from any other country, society.